No one thought this day would ever come, but Rush just proved everyone wrong. After more than a decade away from the stage and the heartbreaking loss of Neil Peart, the band that defined progressive rock is making a comeback that no one saw coming. For years, fans believed the final notes played in 2015 were the end of an era, a beautiful but permanent closing chapter. But now, against all expectations, that chapter is being cracked wide open. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson have just announced a full-scale reunion tour for 2026, with a brand new drummer and a promise to honor Neil's legacy in a way that's both powerful and unexpected. This isn't a rumor. This is happening. The impossible has become reality. It all began at a private, top-secret event at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. The kind of night meant for stories, nostalgia, and a few laughs among die-hard fans and insiders. No press releases, no flashy countdowns, just Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson on stage, chatting casually with journalist Jeff Edgers while the audience soaked in the history. But then came the moment that would set the rock world on fire. During a Q&A segment, a fan from the crowd, later suspected to be none other than Q Prime co-founder Cliff Bernstein, asked the question no one expected to get a real answer to. Will Rush ever tour again? Geddy paused, leaned back with a grin, and casually delivered the sentence that would echo across social media within hours. I kind of think we should tour next year. At first, silence, nervous chuckles. People glanced at each other, unsure if they'd just heard a joke or a confession. Then, almost like a spark catching, the room exploded. Gasps turned to cheers. Cheers turned to a full-blown standing ovation. What began as a quiet tribute night had instantly transformed into the birthplace of one of rock's biggest comebacks. By morning, clips of Geddy's offhand remark were circulating everywhere. And the Rush fan base, dormant but never gone, was roaring back to life. For years, fans believed Rush was gone forever. And for good reason. When Neil Peart passed away in January 2020 after a long, private battle with brain cancer, it felt like the heart of the band had stopped beating. His drumming wasn't just technical brilliance. It was poetry in motion, the backbone of a sound that shaped generations. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson didn't just lose their bandmate. They lost a brother. In the months and years that followed, both men stepped back from the stage, processing the grief away from the public eye. Lifeson faced his own struggles, quietly dealing with health issues that affected his ability to tour. He even went on record in interviews, making it painfully clear another Rush tour simply wasn't on the table. Meanwhile, Lee poured himself into writing, releasing books, and reflecting on a lifetime spent in music. The idea of performing Rush's songs without Neil wasn't just difficult, it was unthinkable. But something shifted in private. At some point, the two old friends started jamming together again, with no agenda, no cameras, and no plans. Just music, just them. What started as casual sessions turned into something bigger. They found themselves laughing again, getting lost in those intricate rhythms and melodies that once defined their lives. The spark they thought was gone had quietly returned. Playing those songs wasn't reopening a wound. It was lifting a weight. It was like the dark clouds that had hung over them for years finally began to clear. And in that unexpected joy, the seeds of a reunion were planted. The most daring part of this reunion isn't the tour. It's the drummer. When Rush fans heard that Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson were returning to the stage, the immediate question was the one on everyone's mind. Who could possibly sit behind Neil Peart's drum kit? The answer surprised even longtime followers of the band. Anika Nilles, an award-winning German drummer, composer, and producer, Nilles has built a global reputation for her jaw-dropping technique, innovative rhythms, and electrifying live performances. She's toured with Jeff Beck, released multiple acclaimed solo albums, and carved out a name as one of the most technically gifted drummers of her generation. But bringing her into the Rush universe wasn't a formal audition. Lee and Lifeson quietly flew her to Canada for what they called an experiment. No cameras, no press, just the three of them in a room, letting the music decide. It wasn't just about hitting the right notes. Playing Rush requires a deep, almost telepathic sense of timing, feel, and dynamic shifts. To their surprise, it clicked almost immediately. Nilles didn't try to imitate Neil. She brought her own voice, weaving her precision and power into the fabric of the songs in a way that felt both fresh and deeply respectful. Geddy Lee explained that no matter who the drummer is, everyone brings their own interpretation to Rush's complex catalog. And that's exactly the point. This isn't about creating Rush 2.0. It's about opening a new chapter. The band also plans to bring on an additional keyboardist to give both Lee and Lifeson more freedom on stage, a move that hints at flexible set lists and richer live arrangements. Replacing Neil is impossible, but honoring him while evolving the sound? That's exactly what they're doing. But none of this would happen without one family's blessing. From the moment whispers of a possible reunion began, there was one question lingering in the background. How would Neil Peart's family feel about it? After all, this wasn't just another band member. This was a man whose artistry, lyrics, and soul were woven into the DNA of Rush itself. The answer came in the form of a powerful and deeply emotional joint statement from Neil's widow, Cory Peart, and his daughter, Olivia. In their message, they didn't just give their approval, they gave their full support. They described the upcoming 50-something tour as a celebration, not a replacement. A way to honor Neil's extraordinary legacy as both a drummer and a lyricist, while allowing the music that defined generations to live on. They spoke of how Neil's musicianship expanded what rhythm could express, how his words gave meaning to millions of fans, and how excited they were to see this next chapter unfold. For the Rush community, their words carried immense weight. This wasn't a commercial stunt or a nostalgic cash grab. With Neil's own family embracing the tour, it transformed the reunion from a surprising announcement into something far more meaningful. A continuation of a legacy, blessed by those who knew him best. And the way they're launching this tour is pure poetry. Rush isn't just hitting the road, they're deliberately retracing their own history in a way that feels almost cinematic. The first shows of the 50-something tour will take place at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, the exact same venue where Rush played their final concert back in 2015. It's a full-circle moment that hits like a quiet thunderclap. The place where they said goodbye is now the place where they're saying we're back. From there, the tour will travel through 7 cities across North America, each chosen with intention. After Los Angeles, the band heads to Mexico City for a single night, then on to Fort Worth, Chicago, New York, Toronto, and finally Cleveland. And that last stop isn't random. Cleveland is where Rush's American journey truly began. The city whose rock radio station gave Working Man its first spin, igniting a wave that carried them to global fame. Ending the tour there isn't just scheduling, it's storytelling. Each night will feature over 2 hours of music pulled from across their legendary catalog, with more than 35 songs rehearsed so they can switch up the set list show to show. Geddy Lee has already reassured fans that, while they won't return to the marathon 3-hour epics of old, this tour will absolutely deliver the immersive Rush experience fans expect. Lifeson even joked about hiring a keyboardist so he can dance more, earning laughter from the Cleveland crowd. But the most meaningful promise is this: Neil Peart will be honored every single night. Geddy confirmed that the band will pay tribute to him at least twice during each show, in their own way. This tour isn't about pretending nothing changed. It's about acknowledging the past, embracing the present, and giving fans a celebration worthy of Rush's legacy. So, why now, after all these years? For a long time, the idea of Rush returning to the stage felt impossible. Not just emotionally, but physically. Alex Lifeson had been open about his health struggles, explaining in interviews that touring simply wasn't realistic anymore. But in Cleveland, Geddy Lee gave fans the update they'd been hoping for. Alex is pretty effing healthy right now. That simple statement carried weight. It meant the door, once firmly closed, had quietly swung open. Both Lee and Lifeson have spent the past decade pursuing their own paths. Geddy immersed himself in writing and personal projects, while Alex explored new sonic territory with his band Envy of None. But despite their separate ventures, something kept pulling them back to the music they created together, to the intricate compositions that challenged them, bonded them, and defined their careers. Lifeson admitted that as they began rehearsing Rush songs again, he found himself re-energized by the complexity. The challenge of mastering those arrangements after years away didn't intimidate him. It thrilled him. Geddy summed it up in a way only he could. "We fucking miss it." It wasn't about fame, money, or obligation. It was about the joy of standing side by side and bringing those songs to life again. And while nothing has been confirmed, fans online are buzzing with speculation. Some believe this reunion could pave the way for additional tour dates beyond the seven-city run. Others are whispering about the possibility of a special live album or even a limited studio project with the new lineup. For now, those remain rumors, but the fact that they're even being discussed shows just how seismic this moment is. After years of silence, Rush isn't just returning. They're returning on their own terms. The reaction was instant and explosive. Within hours of the Cleveland reveal, social media lit up like a festival stage. Longtime fans, many of whom had quietly accepted that they'd never see Rush perform again, were suddenly overwhelmed with emotion. Posts flooded in, stories of fathers and daughters who bonded over Tom Sawyer, fans who saw their first Rush concert in the 70s and couldn't believe they'd get to experience it again, and younger listeners who had only ever known the band through recordings, now thrilled at the chance to witness history in real time. Music journalists didn't hold back either. Headlines declared this the most significant rock reunion of the decade, while critics and historians reflected on Rush's unique position in music history. A band that defied trends, built a fiercely loyal global following, and elevated musicianship to an art form. What struck many was that this wasn't a nostalgia tour dressed up for quick cash. This was something different. Neil Peart's influence will loom large over every note played on the 50-something tour. His absence will be felt, but so will his presence, in the rhythms, the lyrics, and the shared memory of millions. Yet this reunion isn't just about looking back. By welcoming Anika Nilles and reshaping their live show, Geddy and Alex are proving that Rush's legacy isn't frozen in time. It's evolving, breathing, and daring to grow. The songs that once marked the end of a chapter are now the beginning of a new one. And for fans, old and new alike, it's a reminder that some music doesn't fade. It finds new ways to echo. Some legacies fade, others echo louder with time. Rush could have left their story where it ended in 2015, a graceful farewell, a legacy untouched. But instead, Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson chose a harder, braver path. To honor Neil Peart, not by standing still, but by moving forward. They're stepping back onto the stage not to rewrite history, but to let it sing again. This reunion isn't about replacing the irreplaceable. It's about celebrating the music, the brotherhood, and the generations of fans who've carried these songs in their hearts for decades. It's about proving that even after loss, even after silence, the sound can return. Powerful, different, and alive. So tell us, which Rush song do you most want to hear live in 2026? Drop it in the comments below. Your choice might just be the one that echoes across arenas next summer. And if you love stories like this, the moments where music history shifts in real time, make sure to like this video. Leave a comment and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest moments in music.